Okay, so volumes of prisms and cylinders. So in this particular lesson, we're talking about how to find the volume. So the inside space, not just what the outside would be, but the inside space. So the volume of prisms, whether they're triangular like the green one or rectangular like the blue one, is base times height. And don't forget that the base is what gives it its shape. Okay? And so, since this is triangular, this is the base because it's what gives it its shape. So we have these two bases. So to find the volume, you find the area of this base and then you multiply it by how high the figure is. So remember, it's sitting on its side. So this is your height. And the base is going to be the triangle. So if we do base times height, we know that the base is a triangle and the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. We can replace this b with base times height over 2 because they mean the same thing, times the actual height of the pyramid itself or the prism itself. So this formula looks a little weird because there's 2 h's in it. So we have the base 6 times the height 10 of my triangle, divide by 2, multiply by the height of the figure, which is 5, and that gives me a volume of 150 meters cubed. Volume is always cubed because we did meter times meter times meter again, so you get meters cubed. Okay, so in this one, it's rectangular, so there's my base, and this is how high it is. Remember, it's sitting on its side. So again, if I do base times height, I have length times width for my base times the height of my pyramid. So 3 times 6 times the height, which is 10, gives me a total of 180 meters cubed. Cylinders are different because the bases are circles, okay, and the volume for a circle is pi r squared. So we're going to have base times height. The base is a circle, so we're going to replace that with pi r squared times the height h. So pi times the radius, there's your radius, half of the diameter, so 6 squared times the height 8. You have to do this first because of order of operations. Don't forget 6 squared, then times 8 times pi, or times pi times 8, but you have to do 6 squared first. You get 904.8 inches cubed. So that's how you use the formula. Now we're going to actually practice it with a couple. Clear the page and scroll up, and then we'll go ahead and try that. So here are these sample questions. Let's try these. So in this first one, it's cylindrical. So it has a circular base. So if we do base times height, my base is a circle. So I need pi r squared times h, okay? And so remember that the height of the cylinder is going to be from the very, very top of it to the very, very bottom. So there's my height, okay? And that this is my diameter. All right, and I need the radius, diameter. So I need half of the diameter. That's what my radius would be. Okay, so 2.5 is the radius. So now I have everything I need for my formula. Pi times 2.5 squared times the height of 6. You go ahead and multiply that all out, and you get 117.8 meters cubed. Okay, the second figure, again, what gives it its shape? It's the triangle. So there's your base times how high the figure stands. So that's your height. Base times height. If the base is a triangle, the formula for triangle is base times height over 2 times the height of your actual figure. So 3 times 5 over 2 times the height of 6. And number 2 gives me a total of 45 inches cubed. Number 3, also cylindrical, okay? So we have to do, again, base times height. The base is a circle. Pi r squared times h. So I like to just write my formulas down always when I start. What formula am I using? What do I need? It helps me to figure out what do I still have left to find, and then go ahead and plug it in. So pi times the radius of 2 squared times the height of 5 gives me 62.8 meters cubed. Okay, the last section, number 4, looks like the middle section of that is not shaded. So I have to find just the shaded region, which means I need the volume of the cube. And once I find the volume of the entire cube, I'm going to subtract that cylinder. So how do you find the volume of a cube? You do base times height, and the base of a cube is length times width times height. Once I do that, I'm going to subtract the cylinder, which is base times height, and remember that a cylinder's base is circular. So I need a pi r squared times the height. All right, let's figure out what we have. I'm all set with my cube. Length times width. Sorry, I put that in the wrong place. Length times width times the height of the figure. Okay, length times width times height. And so 6 times 6 times 6 gives me a total of 216. And I'm going to subtract from that whatever I get over here. So 4 is my diameter. I just need the radius from here to here. So that's going to be a 2 and a 2, right? So I have pi times 2 squared times the height of my cylinder, which is 6. And that gives me 75.4 for a total of 140.6 inches cubed. So write down what it is you're trying to find. Write down your formulas. Break down your formulas into exactly the pieces that you need. Solve for anything you're missing and plug and chug.